Cool. Okay, so Edward, I didn't get a chance to say this in my rebuttal. I wanted to just clarify. I think you sort of, during your rebuttal, described me as somebody who was just espousing a sort of lack-theism position. And again, it depends on what definition of God we're sort of talking about. But I would actually, with regard to the Christian God, I would say that I disbelieve in the Christian God. So it's not just that I lack belief. I would sort of take a weaker sort of lack-theism stance on a general sort of vague deistic God, but although if I had to bet on it, I'd bet that God doesn't exist, even a deistic one. But the Christian one in particular, I have a stronger stance on. I'd say I actively disbelieve in that one. So just wanted to clarify that. If you wanted to ask about that or talk about any of the other arguments, I'm cool with whatever.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I feel like you try to take away the logical implications which follow from the atheistic position. Now, you said that, I heard you say that before, that when I make this argument that I'm talking about materialism or naturalism, and in reality, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm basically presupposing that atheism is true, right? Okay, you don't want to believe there's a God? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and look at that. Let's take that to the logical conclusion, right? So,
well, I would just remind you that it's not that I don't want to believe in one, and it's that I just don't see any rational justification for believing in one. And I would.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said that.
No, it's okay.
Whatever your position is, right?
Yeah.
You have a lack of belief in God. So my point is, there are implications which follow from that. Now, before I even move on past that, because I don't think I can go any further until I point out something that you said. You said that in atheism you could still believe in a being brought life, right, or a designer. But I feel like that totally changes the argument, because let's just say that there's an alien and I think I've heard this before. An alien, came to planet Earth from planet life on Earth, right? So, regardless of what you personally think of that alien who brought forth life, maybe you don't think that they're a god, but you're gonna have some people that label that as a god, right? That's a deity. That's the creator of life. So, from a definitional standpoint, that's a god, right? So, atheism can't. That's
well, this is where
that's an incoherent argument.
I see what you're saying. It's you're right. It's important that we're clear on definitions here. So if you, as you just did, I mean, if you described God as the being who first originated and created life on planet Earth. If that's your definition of God, then, and I guess by that definition, an alien who, came to Earth and sort of created life as part of like a extraterrestrial science project or something, would be described as God. But so definitions matter. When I'm thinking about God, I'm thinking about more the, sort of classical philosophical definition of God, which would be something like an all-powerful, all-knowing being, sometimes characterized as all good. And so, I mean, depends on the definition. So if that's your definition of God, or if it's the Christian God, then under that definition, if an alien comes and, creates life on planet Earth, as long as that alien is not all-knowing, is not all-powerful, and is not all good, then it's not God, and that seems to be totally compatible with atheism to me.
Okay, so, and not to keep at this position that we're at right now, for argument's sake, but I do want to say that the definition of atheism that I hear constantly from atheists is that it's a lack of belief in God of gods. So that includes all gods. It's not just a Christian God or a classical definition of God or whatever. It's just any God. if we're talking about Thor, if we're talking about Zeus, it doesn't matter who we're talking about. If we're talking about aliens, all of those are excluded. And that's what I said in my open. And I said that all of those are off the table. All beings are off the table because that includes, when you say God or gods, that includes, that's exhaustive. That includes any being that could be considered a god. Do you not agree with that?
I mean, to an extent, but I mean, it just depends how far you want to take that, really. Like, if you want to, if you want to define God as any being, let's say you want to define God as just any being, like God is any being. If something is a being, then I'm just gonna call that God. That's the definition of God, is just any being. Well, then. I wouldn't consider myself an atheist because I believe I believe in me and you. So it just depends on the definition you want to use. Maybe we can stick with your particular definition of the God that you actually believe in as a theist, and then that way we can sort of.
No. I don't want to do that because and it's not just for this debate's sake, but for anyone's listening. Because I'm not going to just say we're talking about the Christian God. No, we're talking about any God. And what you just did there is an equivocation fallacy, because it's not just any being. We're not just talking about any being. We're talking about someone who actually is the cause of biological life on Earth, right? So that's God, period. Like, no matter how you want to parse that up or change the definition or whatever, that's considered God, regardless of how we want to play with the word.